amend the order.
The purpose and function of the Jacksonville Beach Special Magistrate hearing in accordance with Florida Statutes Chapter 162 and the City of Jacksonville Beach Code of Ordinances is to reach an equitable expedition to enforce the codes. The city presents the violation and evidence to the special magistrate. Next, the property owner is sworn in responds to the violation and evidence. Both the city and the property owner may call witnesses to provide sworn testimony relevant to the case. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, not a public forum. Individuals not called as sworn witnesses will not be heard.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Wayne Flowers. I serve as Special Magistrate for the City of Jacksonville Beach. We have two cases on our agenda for consideration today, two hearings, and I will call on Ms. Beavers, Code Enforcement Officer, to be sworn and then call the first case.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and your position.
Nikki Beavers, City of Jacks Beach, Code Enforcement Officer.
Good afternoon, Ms. Beavers. Which case do you want to call first?
Okay, we're gonna skip to case B, and that's case number 2222. Property owner Mandarin Management System Incorporated. The violation address was at 624 North 6th Avenue, Jacksonville Beach. This property was in violation of not obtaining a building permit. Based on our last hearing, Mr. Palomar was to obtain a building permit. At the time, after the hearing, a building permit was obtained, but then the contractor came and rescinded the building permit. So we're back not in compliance. The city is asking that Mr. Palomar either return the property back to its original state before the renovations were done, or a $250 per day fine until it's done. And the building official is asking 7 days for that to be reversed.
All right. The picture you have up here, is that the premises?
Yes.
That's at 624 North 6th Avenue?
Yes, and this is what our building official, Clark Stuck, who was present at our last hearing, and this is the stop work order that he had issued.
Okay. That's the original stop work order?
Yes, stating that,
And that's dated
this was
October
dated,
25th, 2021?
yes. And this was for the kitchen and bathroom renovations. There was some minor window door framing, and I want to say there was also, yeah, those were the main things.
So to back up for a second, in terms of what you say the building official is asking for is to return the premises.
Back to where it was, because the work was done without an active permit.
What would that involve? When you say return the premises?
I believe from the last hearing, there was some work that was done, electrical work that was also done. So what Clark Stuck had stated was that the drywall needed to be removed so that the electrical work could be inspected. So those are the things that needed to be reversed.
That would be have drywall removed so that the plumbing work can be
The
inspected?
plumbing, yes, that was the plumbing. I'm sorry.
Okay, Mr. Palmieri, I'm going to let you be sworn. Let me refresh my recollection. Your last name is Palmiere. Palmieri.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I actually think I spelled it correctly in the order, but I think it was maybe incorrect on somewhere else. Okay, Mr. Palmieri, would you raise your right hand and be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and your address.
Ronald Palmer, I live at 13690 Lawrence Landing Road, West Jacksonville.
And Mr. Palmieri, just to reconfirm for the record, you are the president of Mandarin Management Systems, Inc.?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Palmieri, you've heard from the code enforcement officer. What can you tell me about what the situation is and what your intentions are as far as property goes?
If I may. We had done everything to come into compliance relative to getting a permit, hiring a general contractor, and we went to McHugh Home Improvements. Permit was issued, and it actually, I received the proposed, it was actually in planning. By the time it got out of planning, it was about the 1st of October of this year, when McHugh had finally gotten back to me with the proposal. And if I may approach just to show you some documentation, sir.
Sure.
So thank you very much. Electrical was mentioned relative to not getting a permit. Any electrical work that was done by Valdez Electric back in April.
You need to go back to
sorry. What was involved is we had reconstructed a wall in the kitchen, and there was not a GFI on the 2 receptacles on the wall. And so Valdez Electric came in, put in 2 receptacles with the GFI to come into compliance, and ran that back to the circuit breaker box, which is right on the same wall in the kitchen. And what I'm showing is the paid invoice for the work that he did, which was relatively minor. At the time, he did not get a permit, and the reason he didn't get a permit is he considered that to be a repair, to be maintenance.
That is Valdez?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, sir. Valdez Electrical Contractors. He's a licensed electrical contractor with a master's license. In his opinion, this was a repair. It was not necessary to be permitted. When we found out that the city was requiring that to be permitted, he went to your office right over here in this building to apply for the permit. The city declined to issue him a permit to do that even after the work was done. And the reasoning was because I needed plumbing work done, and at the time I knew I needed plumbing work done. I had another contractor, Moon Plumbing, apply for a plumbing contract. That was a permit. That was also denied, and the reason why is because now the involvement was for 2 different trades, electrical and plumbing. And then once this was brought to my attention in front of your court several times, I was told I had to get a general contractor to get the permits to do the work. When I first, if I may approach again, sir. When I first went to the queue, this was his estimate on doing the necessary work to come to compliance.
And what you've shown me is it's like, it looks to be an estimate from McHugh, and it shows a figure of $2,800.
Yes, sir. When I needed a timeline, excuse me, approximately October
Okay.
1st.
Now, if you're going to testify, you need to go back to
No,
the
I
microphone.
have more documentation.
Okay.
To show you.
So if you want to show it to me and then tell me what's there,
Yes.
you have to do it from the microphone.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
On approximately the 1st of October, the first week in October, I should say, I received the updated proposal from McHugh of almost $28,000, from $2,800 to $28,000. At that point in time, I requested to have a meeting with Mr. Knight, George Knight, as well as Mr. Clark, just to review what was necessary to come into compliance. They met with me in their office The earliest appointment they had was October 19th, and I met with both in their office on that date.
All right, let's back up a second.
Yes.
So we're talking about timeline. The original estimate you showed me that came from McHugh was dated August 5th, 2022.
Yes, sir. It took approximately 30 days to get through.
And then the larger estimate, $27,074.
That was on October 6th I received that.
Okay.
That was the updated proposal.
Well,
Now, in the meantime, from his original estimate, it took approximately
hold
30
on a
days.
second. All I can say is that what you provided me, both of these have August 5th as the date on them. They are different. But go ahead. So the second one is 27,000, and I think you were getting ready to explain to me what happened.
Yes, sir. I asked to have a meeting.
You say you got this 27,000 estimate in October.
On October 6th, and the time frame in the middle was it was approximately 30 days for the permit to go through planning. And then there was a delay of approximately 2 or 3 weeks from Mr. McHugh to get estimates from subcontractors relative to the work that he wanted to do.
Okay.
And that was the difference in the timeline. At this meeting with Mr. Knight and Mr. Struck, my main concern was the work that was, I don't want to use the word being required, being suggested or whatever, meaning to rewire basically the entire house, including replacing the circuit breaker box, which was about 5 years old. It's almost brand new. And I have pictures of everything with me if you may want to entertain some pictures, as well as replumbing the entire house. That's a part of this $27,000. As a result of the meeting that I had, Mr. Knight explained to me that I had the option of getting another contractor if I wasn't happy with that particular bid. That my permit is transferable to another contractor as long as the initial one was willing to relinquish it, and that the original permit would be good for 6 months. There would be a fee to reinstate it, but it wouldn't be anywhere near the original $1,000 fee that I paid. And I said, okay, fine, I think it's in my best interest to contact another, or at least one more general contractor, as well as a master plumber, or master electrician to get evaluations of the work that's actually needed to come into compliance. On October 20, this meeting was on October 19th.
Which meeting?
The meeting with Mr. Knight and Mr. Struck. And once again, if I may approach, I have our documentation. On the evening of Friday, October 21st, at approximately 9:36 p.m., and this is documented, I received this from the building department, 9:30 on Friday night. Requiring that I be at the premises the following day, which is Saturday, between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. for a physical inspection of the property. I got there at approximately 9:45.
Hold on one second.
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. It was only at this point in time that I was made aware of the fact that McHugh Home Improvements had decided to cancel the permit. I had no, still, even as of right this minute, I've had no communication whatsoever from McHugh in writing, email, text, phone call, or anything, advising me that they had decided to cancel the permit. I found that out when I received that document in my email Friday night. I waited on the site for 5.5 hours in my car on Saturday for the inspector to come by as required in that document, and no one ever showed up, no one ever called, no one ever sent me a text. I know it has nothing to do with the court, but it happened to be my granddaughter's birthday, and we had planned a family gathering in St. Augustine, and me and my wife attended as a result of that. I don't particularly think that it's fair that the building department here should do something like that, whether it's, I don't know the reason, I can't even comment on it. Since last week, which is the weekend, I contacted another general contractor. His name is Luis Rosero, R-O-S-E-R-O.
Say it one more time.
Luis Rosero, R-O-S-E-R-O. I'll give you his, would you want his phone number, sir, for confirmation? I have that
He's
also.
just a licensed general contractor.
He is a licensed general contractor, and all his documents are here physically with Jack's Beach. He has done quite a bit of work in Jack's Beach. Yes, sir.
And you contacted him for what purpose?
To reevaluate what was needed, to assign a permit over to him once he is able to get his subcontractors in place. And as we speak, he had his plumber on site right now. He has an electrician scheduled for later this week, but I've also taken several other liberties in contacting Elite Electrical Services, master electricians, general contractors, to do a total survey electrically of the house. That appointment is for Monday at 3 p.m. They couldn't get there before then. Gentleman's name is Mike Schweitzer, who I spoke to, S-C-H-W-E-I-T-Z-E-R.
All right,
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry, sir. Now, what I'm trying to say is, I've been before you before. I've done every conceivable thing in the world that I can do to try to come into compliance. I have to assume that someone in the building department contacted Mr. McHugh's office. I didn't. I had no communication with him whatsoever. And as a result of whatever that communication may have been, the fact that I was unhappy with his revised estimate, possibly, but I had no communication whatsoever other than the document you see in front of you stating that McHugh decided to opt out of this particular permit. I never had an opportunity to discuss it with him or anything. Obviously, I wasn't very happy with the amount of the estimate, and the only people privy to that were Mr. Knight and Mr. Stuck, who I met with in the office 2 days prior. So there had to be some communication between the office and the contractor to prompt him to say he no longer wanted to honor that permit. I didn't do anything to cancel the permit. I didn't initiate it. I had no inputs toward that. Whatever happened, happened between the office here and Mr. McHugh's office. Mr. Stuck, Mr. Knight was nice enough to advise me that, in his opinion, that almost $28,000 estimate seemed to be perfectly fine with him, perfectly proper for the work that needed to be done. The kitchen is 8 feet by 7 feet. It is tiny. The house is a 900 square foot house. The only plumbing in the entire house is one bathroom right next to the kitchen. And sir, I have multiple pictures that I can show you what the inside of the house looks like. Mr. McHugh, at some point in time, opened up all the walls for electrical, for plumbing. All the walls are open in the kitchen as well as in the bathroom for inspection.
Okay.
And you'll have to pardon me for the interruption earlier today when I was actually speaking to the plumber on site, evaluating what was needed. The timing was bad when that happened. So, sir, I want to come into compliance. I want to do whatever I need to do, but from $2,800 to $28,000 to me is a little bit of an issue. And if I may, some of the numbers, and from Mr. McHugh $8,300 to replace the electrical panel.
Let's dispense with that for a
Yes,
second. I understand you have
Frustrations.
concerns about the estimate. I mean, I have no way of judging whether that's good, bad, and different. I can certainly see that it's a lot more than $2,700. I want to hear from the city now, if I can, for a
Yes, sir.
second, then I'll give you another opportunity in a minute, Mr. Palmieri.
Thank you, sir.
All right, can we see a copy of who sent the email on
Yes.
Friday at 9:30? Because we don't
Thank
work
you.
on Saturdays.
Yes, ma'am, I know that. I know
So
that.
we don't know who sent that email.
Hopefully you can track it down. I'd like to know also. And there's a timeline right on the top of the email.
I don't do schedule
Well, somebody was working late
Okay.
Friday night.
Well,
But I'll come to that in a second.
Okay.
I'll ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
You can.
my name's Clark Stuck, I'm a building inspector, City of Jacksonville Beach.
Please raise your
last
right
name
hand.
again.
Stuck, S-T-U-C-K.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Stuck, I just want to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
Do you have any information on Mr. McHugh's change of heart? Did he communicate with the city and say, I'm pulling out of this? I mean,
No,
he
sir.
must have had some communication if he rescinded.
No, sir, I have no communication with Mr. McKee.
So is the permit issued to McHugh or is it issued to the owner?
To McHugh, Heating and Air Construction, whatever the contractor's name is.
Do you have any information, and again, I'm just asking some questions that I'm expecting Mr. Palmieri would ask if we had cross-examination. He seems to believe that there was some communication between someone with the city and McHugh expressing the concerns that Mr. Palmieri had expressed about the cost of his revised estimate.
No, nobody from our office contacted. We talked with this gentleman and gave him a couple options, and that's
When
kind
you
of
say that gentleman, you're talking about Mr.
Yes, sir,
Palmieri.
Mr. Palmieri, yes.
So if, to get another permit, that would require, assuming McHugh.
Basically, he revoked his permit, so he chooses to no longer do the work. That's really what he's saying.
Right, another contractor could come in and reapply on his behalf.
Not under that permit number has been null and void.
Understood, but could apply for a new permit.
Yeah, a whole new permit process, yeah, all new.
Excuse me, sir, if I,
No, you'll get a chance in a second.
thank you.
Lastly, before you came in, Ms. Beaver said what the city is asking for is
Sure.
that the walls be opened up so that the plumbing work could be inspected within 7 days.
See, here's where the conditions of the stop work.
Where I'm going with this is, he's indicated that the walls are open, the contractor opened the walls up, so
See,
what I'm hearing is,
they're,
to comply with that part of it, maybe he's already in compliance and an inspection could occur.
okay, to come into compliance for the stop work order. Okay, the conditions of the stop work order on it are, you're supposed to stop work at the time of posting. Okay, that did not happen. Okay, the project continued to progress to completion, so to retroactively go back and remove what was not there to begin with when the stop work order was placed is what we're asking. Basically, there were no walls in the kitchen, there was no cabinetry. I mean, that's kind of where we're at, the quandary is. And I think, any contractor who takes over this job is basically putting his liability insurance on the line to where the scope of work from the kitchen to the bathroom, out into the carport is done and built per Florida building code. All, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, structural, is all compliant with Florida building code. So in order to guarantee that, it's up to the contractor for him to be satisfied to his best ability for his license and liability insurance, all other trades consecutively. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm not the contractor of record.
Understood. Okay, so it's not just a matter of opening the walls up, it's
No,
removing
no.
the work that was done, and
It's-
just take it back to where it was.
It's having
Meet and compliance.
yes, sir.
An alternative compliance would be getting a permit for the work.
Yes, mhm. and
And of course, that would require contractors willing to do the things that you
correct,
indicated.
to verify what is that section of the house, and we're not talking about any other house, that section of the house is compliant with current 2020 affordability code.
Right.
That's really what we're asking
Okay.
to be verified. And whether it's a contractor, just, I didn't do the work. I didn't violate the stop work order and continue working and complete the job.
Yeah,
So,
right, okay. And do you have any information on the email he provided about, inspection? It looks like it was addressed to handyman.
it says from Beach at Ave to, I have no idea. I have no idea who will be working at 9:30 at night for the City of Jackson Beach. We don't work on Saturdays either. I mean, the permit, inspection, description, the stop work order, inspection request comments.
You'll get a
Contractor-
chance to amend, Mr. Palmieri, just relax.
Contractor has withdrawn from permit, verified, no additional work is commencing, permit is no longer valid. Just possibly could have gone to, we have one of our inspectors work on weekends, it's called what's it called? He does basically zoning code compliance over the weekend, he'll kind of look for, work being done on the weekends. This could have been for him to drive by to ensure that no work's being done because the permit was revoked, which kind of negates the agreement we had last time, that he had the contract. And it could have been what it was about, between the 10 and 3, those are our normal inspection hours. It's kind of an automatic line on all of our inspection requests. Notifications that go back to any contractor, any person. And it could have been an internal thing that we're noting, and then David was supposed to drive by and look at it. I'm not sure. No, I didn't do the inspection.
Yeah, the time is what.
Yeah, because this
That's the email again.
line right here, every single inspection request that goes to the contractor owner has that verbiage on it. It'll be the date and that information on it.
Who is Mitch at handyman?
He's the principal in the.
He was the contractor that had the information revoked. So they did notifying him officially that it was revoked and that it's up. It was to David Martin, the other inspector, to drive by on Saturday to look and see if there's any work being done. That's what I have to say.
So how did you get this?
I found it in my email Sunday morning. I read my email before I went to church. And that's
Sunday
how-
morning?
Well, I thought it
Oh,
was
Saturday morning, excuse me, sorry, Saturday morning.
So Sunday, you had church on Saturday.
I go to church on Saturday and Sunday, sir. Okay, 2 days.
Okay, Rand,
I've,
the randsworld@aol.com is
that is
your-
my correct email address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Palmieri, hold on one second, I might have several questions. Mr. Palmieri, what, you obviously want to say some other things.
Mr. Struck, were you sworn in before you testified? I don't remember that.
Yes. Mhm.
Oh, yeah, well, great. If you could recall the meeting that we had with yourself.
Okay, can you speak up, Mr. Palmieri?
Yes, sir. If you
I need to
could-
hear
I'm
and
sorry.
these
If,
people.
if you could recall the meeting with yourself and Mr. Knight, did not Mr. Knight advise me that it was possible that that particular permit could be transferred to another contractor? Did he not say that?
That is allowed if the permit holder relinquishes that permit for that to happen.
Okay, well, did he not relinquish the permit by?
He revoked it. That's between you and him to decide. It's not between us and,
No, I'm just looking for clarification relative to what was said.
if he would have agreed to relinquish the permit and say, I no longer wish to do the work, you can have another contractor assume the permit, that would have been part of our standard operating procedure. But he chose to revoke the permit. So that means the permit is null and void. So,
So you're saying,
we told you correctly, but what happened was the contractor chose not to do that. So it's no longer an option as far as assuming that permit number and associating with the project.
If the contractor is the permit holder and he voluntarily relinquishes the permit before any transfer occurs, and I think that's what he's saying.
so is it,
Because you apparently never communicated with Mr. McHugh and said, I want to transfer
never,
this permit.
even to this minute, I've had no communication with Mr. McHugh or anyone in his office.
Right.
Mr. Knight had also, I think, indicated that should we get another contractor, that we would not have to go through the timeline process for review and so forth and so on that we did initially. Is that correct?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, we process permits. How it gets processed is how it gets processed. We do
No,
not,
that's
we
not-
do not fast track permits. We take it
Excuse
as
me,
an order,
that-
accept
that's-
it, and roll through it.
Should I try to have Mr. Knight testify? Because it was made clear to me that Mr. Knight said emphatically that as long as we got another contractor, that we would not have to go through the same process, which initially took almost a month,
Mhm.
for the permit review.
Correct, yeah.
He did say that, did he not?
He did, yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm just looking,
I think
I'm
what
trying
is
to,
disconnecting you, Mr. Palmieri, is that,
I'm trying to accelerate the process to get this
right,
done and get it back on stream and not to have the delays of another.
Okay, and I believe I did say, we will take the application and we will process it.
yeah,
And
I
or
think
it's accepted. And
Again.
that's what we do.
the disconnect, I think, Mr. Palmieri, is that if McHugh had not unilaterally revoked the permit, which he could do because it was issued to him,
He can
and
have
if he had said, okay, I will transfer the permit to Louis
Yeah.
Lazaro, then the permit would still be out there. It
Yes,
doesn't
sir.
have to go through a permitting process.
Absolutely.
But because
Absolutely.
McHugh rescinded the permit, which he has the authority to do because it was issued to him, there is no permit now, and so some process would have to be
So
reinitiated.
even though I paid for the permit initially, it doesn't make a difference, I have to do that all over
And
again.
that's something you'd have to talk to Mr.
Yeah.
McHugh about.
That's between you and him as a civil matter as far as getting fees back. We don't.
I don't know what your contractual agreement was with McHugh in terms of him applying for the permit, you paying the money, but, that's something that you'll have to resolve with him. What is the typical time that it requires to get a permit issued?
7 to 14 business days.
Okay.
Yeah, usually 2 weeks is at max. Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, does that include the review time that we were just speaking of?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the last time it took 29,
Okay.
30 days.
That's-
to do
I
that.
think that there was
It was
additional
submitted.
information that was
Yeah.
required, and that's why.
Information was submitted, we required additional information, so it's a back and forth, it's not a unilateral, at the end of 14 days, we have 30 days by Florida statute to issue a permit. I mean, that's Florida statute, from
How many days?
30 days. Now, if we get a permit 7 days in, we request more information, the 30 days
Yeah, 30
starts
days
over.
rolls up.
So, I mean, it wasn't intentional, that's how we do our review process.
Sir, if I may ask, I'm ready to go forward with another general contractor. I've had subs already in place. I have other licensed master electricians as well as plumbing contractors reviewing the scope of the work that is needed. And, I'd like to go forward with this, and I'm not trying to create issues. I still have an issue with whoever sent the email and the requirements of that email, and no one seems to know how it happened, where it came from, and why, requiring me to be there on a Saturday, and somebody physically sent this from an authorized location on site from an email in this building at 9:30 on a Friday night when no one's working, I don't think. And I think that's an issue if nothing else, and I'm not saying I'm being singled out, I'm not saying I'm being harassed, I'm just saying there's some issues that haven't been answered that someone should address. I'm trying to do everything in the world that I can do to come into compliance. I've been trying to do this for several months, and the fact is that I've been deliberately locked out of my property for 7 going on 8 months now. And it's neither here nor there, and I told Mr. Knight and Mr. Struck, this was a house that I was originally trying to fix up for my daughter and her husband to move down from Wilmington, Delaware. That's neither here nor there. They thought that I wanted to fix it up to rent it or whatever, which was not at all the case. I want to try to get past this. I want to try to do it legally. I want to try to do it the way I'm supposed to do it. I'm just asking for some level of cooperation at this point. If I've made mistakes, you have my sincere apology, sir. I'm asking for some cooperation, consideration to move forward.
Sure. Here's, let me ask, can you again specifically describe to me what would have to be done to restore the property? The restoration compliance part?
The restoration compliance would be the contractor of record, who is whoever he chooses to be, Lewis, whoever. He would have to contact his electrician and a plumber, and basically verify that the work that is performed in that structure.
No, I'm talking about if you can't get a contractor who doesn't get a permit, what is the?
But he would have to remove everything that he put in there back to the original state that it was like when the stop work was issued. That was no kitchen, no bathroom, and the wall removed, and the sheetrock in where the hot water heater is removed. Basically exposing all the wires that they ran to the new location.
So all work done in the kitchen
And bathroom.
and bathroom.
Mhm.
Does that include the hot water?
And technically, it could be even all the windows. That's where that kind of seems ludicrous to my mind, but if you want to, the scope of the work was windows, doors, and everything, prior to the stop work order being issued. That would probably be a stretch. We wouldn't require to remove the windows, but, having that section of the house, basically taken back to where it needs to be rebuilt. That's why we had the stop work order. To come in prior to closing anything up so we can get an active permit and then you proceed with the work. So that's kind of where it's been and where it's always needed to get to. It's not a matter of us not wanting to permit this project.
I understand.
My responsibility is, and so is George Knight as a building official, to ensure all structures that are worked on here in the city of Jax Beach are compliant with Florida Building Code, and the life safety components will not kill the next owner possibly. That's really what we do. We don't push up vendettas, we want to permit jobs.
Right.
They have to be done.
I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand that, if he's got an alternative between get a permit or
Sure.
tear stuff out, I'm just trying to understand what we're specifically telling him to tear out.
Yeah, tear out the walls, tear out around the electrical panel. There's junction boxes, and that's where if we were to do a rough inspection prior to this being closed up, we could have seen what was there, what wasn't there, that kind of thing. What was altered in the meantime, but we never did a rough inspection. So therefore, there's no guarantee that what's covered up is done to code.
Excuse me, sir, if I may ask a question of Mr. Struck. Mr. McHugh advised me that this is after he physically opened up the walls. He did the work. I didn't touch anything. He physically.
Now I.
I'm sorry, sir.
And now I.
No, and he advised me that he met with you after he opened up the walls. Prior to, okay, so that is accurate then.
Yes, I know.
Thank you. Okay, so you've already seen what he exposed.
But
Partially, that's
it's not just exposing.
It's not to satisfy me. It's for a licensed contractor to be
Okay.
satisfied that his license is on the line.
No,
I advised him that he probably needs to expand further.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So-
To remove more walls, you mean?
That's what he agreed that his electrician thought that they should be more removed to evaluate the wire condition. And I said, well, once you get to that point,
Just to understand, Mr. Parker, we're talking about two different things. I'm
Yes, sir.
talking about, if you don't get a contractor, then what has to be done to put this back where it was before you did any work?
I understand. I will definitely be getting,
That's-
absolutely positively be getting a contract.
Okay.
Well, here's what I'm gonna do.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna give Mr. Palmieri 30 days
absolutely.
to either remove the work that's been done or get a permit.
Okay, sure.
So
That's
that's
what
why
we-
Mary, that's gonna put a burden on you to get that permit filled out and in their
Sir,
office.
if I may ask a question, again, I'm a little bit confused, but in getting another permit, a new permit, the permit is valid for a certain time frame to get the work done during that specific time frame. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
accurate?
Once the permit is paid for,
Yes.
and then picked up, you
Yes.
have 180 days to complete the project.
Okay, so,
You don't have to do the work within 30 days. If you get the permit,
yes, sir.
you do the work within the period specified in the permit. But if you don't get a permit, then the work has to come out
Yes, sir.
in 30 days. So, you know, again, I mean, there are some mitigating circumstances here, which is why I'm, willing to do this, because,
Yeah.
I would commend you. You obviously had some issues with Mr. McHugh. I think you probably should have been in communication with him
Sir,
about that.
yeah,
about what
the
was
main
going
issue
on.
I have with Mr. McHugh is, I'm glad I have a good heart, because when he submitted the final proposal of $28,000, my initial response to him was, oh my God, how did we go from 2,800 to 28,000?
That's understandable, but if you were thinking about firing Mr. McHugh, you should have said,
No, but
let's
I-
take care of the permit.
Sir, but
That's,
I wasn't. Because I said to him, I wanted to meet with Mr. Knight and Mr. Stuck to review the scope of the work to be done. That was the only communication that I had at that time with
Sure.
him relative to the updated proposal that he had submitted.
And how we do permit valuation is based on square foot.
Mhm.
So the square foot of usage is how we determine the valuation.
Okay.
So what Mr. McKee would charge him and what we do valuation based on the permit could be two different things.
correct,
Because that's across the board, everybody pays the same amount based on square footage.
right.
So,
Ms. Beavers, you wanted to?
Yes. Okay, so, you stated that you're gonna give him 30 days. So what I, want to ask is that he apply and obtain the permit by November 23rd, and then we will come back December 28th. So that'll give him 30 days.
November 23rd.
Today's
Bye.
today's the 26th. Is there a reason why you're asking for 27 days instead of 30?
Okay,
Thanksgiving?
because it's Thanksgiving holiday.
Oh,
So,
I get
and
it.
our office will be closed, so the 23rd, if you come in,
It actually would be the 25th, because there's 31 days in October.
got you.
November 25th.
Yes, that's fine. And then we will come back before you on December 28th. That's our next,
Excuse me, if I may ask, if I have another general contractor that has come in, filed this necessary paperwork, has been granted the permit at that point in time, you're saying it's still necessary that I come back again?
right, so we'll have to come back and show that you're in compliance. But because our November hearing falls around the Thanksgiving holiday, that's why I'm pushing the
No,
next.
I understand, I just didn't understand it.
He's asking, does he need to come back if he's got the permit? I guess.
That's
That's
my
what he's
question.
asking.
No, you do not, but you'll still get them.
You'll get a
Yeah,
notice,
notice.
you will get a notice, and
Of
this
the
is gonna be
hearing.
on the agenda for November, the meeting on November 28th, simply because they have to send those notices out sufficiently prior to that they're not gonna know whether you've actually gotten that permit by the 28th, or by the 25th, I'm sorry.
So if you're in compliance, and I still have to present it before the special magistrate,
Oh, I didn't know that.
I still have to present it before him to close the case.
Okay.
But it's up to you whether you show up or not, but you'll still get notice
Okay.
that the hearing
No,
will
I
be on
just didn't, I didn't want to
December.
be in violation, that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, understood. I understand your question.
Okay.
But again, it's a matter of, if you were in compliance, Ms. Beavers will probably tell you, it's up to you whether you want to come in or not, that she will report to me that you're in compliance. But, again, you're still going to get a notice to appear because that goes out before the 25th in order that you have sufficient notice to be here on the 28th. And
I appreciate
you may
it.
not get that permit until the 25th.
Can we just assume that this is something that's just going to go away?
Well, okay, you want if you want to provide a copy to the, Mr. Register or whatever, just say, I'm concerned about this because I got this and I complied with it.
It's kind of rough to
They
say,
may
I'm
want to
alone
look
in
and
the car
see,
for
well, I have
5.5
that
hours.
out. Again, they're seeing this for the first time today, and I don't know, it looked to me like someone was trying to notify the contractor, and, noted that contractor rescinded the permit. Does anybody know what day he did that on?
The
Monday
day that Mr. McHugh came in? No, we would have to check in the office.
Regardless, I think that's about the only thing I can suggest to you, Mr. Palmieri. Again, I understand your concern, you get something and you show up and nobody else does. I obviously can't answer how that occurred or why it occurred. It seemed to me that, maybe providing it to the building office, to the, the director of that office, and saying, so they can look at it and say, this is what happened, and if there needs to be a correction, how those things go out, then, he can do that. Okay?
So we'll, November 25th, and then we'll come back on December 28th.
Get something right
I'll send a copy in the mail. It'll be.
You'll get an order.
You'll get an order.
Let's say. But you might want to write it down. You need to
Yes.
write it down right now. If I
Yes,
were
sir.
you,
Okay.
November 25th, you're going to need to have a permit by that day.
Okay, 11/25, that's permit. And the
Next
next
hearing
court date, you
is
said?
December 28th.
November 28th.
No, December.
December?
Yeah, we're gonna come back in
Okay.
December.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I won't be here, I'll be visiting my family for Christmas.
Okay.
And, we take that week, I fly back up to Delaware for the Christmas holiday. So I definitely won't be here for December 28th. We do that every year. So
We'll come up with a date. We might have to just alter the hearing dates.
But the important thing is November 25th.
Yes.
I'm anticipating that my new contractor will be making an application by the end of this week. He's just waiting for subcontractors to finish their evaluation.
When are you leaving in December for vacation?
We leave December the 22nd, and we come back the day before New Year's Eve,
Okay, so we'll,
which would be, I guess, December 30th.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So it'll be either before the 22nd?
Yeah, we take that week.
Okay,
for Christmas.
it'll be either before December 22nd or after the 28th. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
And if we're done, can I speak to you just for a
Sure.
minute? Thank you.
Okay, moving on to, backtracking back to case.
Sir, thank you again, I appreciate it. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much.
2215, this was a nuisance case. Mr. Romano.
Is it Romano or Romero?
Romano,
Okay.
yes. Oh, I see why. It is Romano.
Okay.
The property has come into compliance. Well, this is the one. But they're compliant. I was trying to show the final, okay, here we go. Are you able to?
I did that.
Okay. So go to October. Okay, so, this picture was taken today, this morning, and as you can see, all the junk and debris has all been removed, and all that is, construction equipment. So the case has been closed.
Okay. I'll enter an order to that effect.
Okay. And that concludes all the cases I have for today.
Okay.